What's happening, HEXO traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Tuesday. It's August 10th. And in this video, we're going to be discussing HEXO Corp participating at the Canaccord Genuity Capital Markets Conference today. We received an email this morning essentially saying that it was this email here, so that they were participating in the 41st Annual Growth Conference, but it was a very late notice. We had no idea until today. But essentially, they were participating in that conference today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and I did manage to tune in. But out of respect of Canaccord Genuity, they did have a disclaimer that it should not be recorded, so I'm not going to be posting that, unfortunately. But I will recap it the best I can. But before we jump in, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comments below if you would benefit from a live stream later on today. I did want to come on and just do a quick update because I know people are sort of freaking out. So I just wanted to come on and kind of keep people calm and let you know what I know. So essentially, for those of you that joined in on the conference, it was fantastic. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite takeaway was. But my absolute favorite was the fact that the Redees are going to be going to the United States, going to be into the United States. How many times have you heard that HEXO's products will never cross the border? How many times have you heard that another LP won't have their products cross the border? Believe you me, most of these companies, we know Canopy's owned by Constellation Brands, and we know HEXO's partnered with Molson Coors. So the fact that, these big, huge conglomerates already dominate in the U.S., personally, I think it's going to be very similar. As much as the U.S. says that they're not going to allow, big alcohol companies to dominate the space, it's always the case with every industry that a few select companies dominate. And I do think there's going to be a lot of room for, craft growers and things like that to make a lot of money. But with regards to the Budweisers of the world, I think it's going to be very similar. I think there's going to be, 3 to 5 companies globally that have a global market share. And then obviously there will be the lower, niche markets and things like that. But we'll go through this. I'm excited. We had the new CPG partner that was released. That was probably the most, the biggest thing that people are freaking out about, so to speak. But my favorite part was the Redees and gel caps that were going to be entering into the United States. They said a few select states starting in January, and likely going to be through that white labeling agreement with other MSOs, and it'll be a type of retail because they don't want to get into retail, and this will also help them keep their listing on the NYSE and please regulators. So that's going to be done strategically through a specific investment vehicle. So we don't know exactly the details on that, but they'll be releasing that shortly. But it'll be similar likely to that Trust CBD USA, which they also said is going to be rolling out to additional states soon as well. So now it's expanded across Colorado, pretty much in all, I think he said 80% of liquor stores in Colorado, the whole state. And then we'll be looking at other states soon. And then they said that the new CPG partner is absolutely signed. It is signed. And they said they're going to be rolling out CBD foods and will be piloting it in Quebec soon, over the next year or so. So we should see that pilot in Quebec maybe over the next few months, 6 months. I'm just guessing, but that's my guesstimation. And then we should see into the US sometime in the next year. That's my guess, over the next course of the next 12 months. But CPG partner yet to be named due to confidentiality concerns and agreements, but the deal is signed. Sebastian St. Louis said on the conference. So looking for, it's going to be a food partner. They mentioned they had some really cool ideas coming out with food products. So shout out to Danny in our group, in POW group, in our private chat room. He shared this with the group, and we were all trying to figure out who it could be. But a lot of speculation right now at the moment. We know it's probably not PepsiCo or Coca-Cola because they said it's not in the beverage category. They already have Molson Coors for that, but they did say that it wasn't going to be one of those beverage companies. So in my opinion, I'm going to go with Mandela's International. Let me know in the comments below, or if your name's not on this list, let me know in the comments below who you think the new CPG partner could be. But essentially the wait is over. And we know that the CPG partner is signed. So essentially the wait is over, sort of, to this point. So we know that they're signed, but due to confidentiality agreements, and I think, just if they release the news now, then that's potentially going to allow their competitors to scramble and start freaking out and start trying to get into the space. So, and then not only that, it just might dampen their, it might get the word out that they don't want, the wrong word out that they don't want to get out, but also just help with competitive advantage in that moat. He continued to talk about moat as well, SSL today, specifically around the Redees. and the technology. So because of this technology, because of the high cost and high efficiency and output of these of this technology and these readies, they're going to be able to just take the world by storm and be number one in pre-roll in the United States. That is his goal, and really looking forward to it. The amount of growth potential just from trusts entering into to other states, right, in the United States. Then we get the readies going into the other United States. We got the gel caps. We got the organic growth from here in the Canadian market. I think they said it's at $4 billion now in the annual versus the annual amount in Canada versus the United States, which could be 20, but he said it has been growing rapidly. And the U.S. legalization outlook is still cloudy, but he is confident that they will sooner than later. And they also mentioned, Trent mentioned as well, that they had over the last 9 months on a consolidated basis, $39 million in income from operations, which was best by a country mile in the words of Trent, and best in class, not even a close second. And a lot of other LPs had to a loss of $100 million all the way up to a $1 billion loss. Also 156 million net revenue on a consolidated basis, 44% combined margin, also best in class. So just going to say that that was that's just the pro forma, that's just the revenue of Redecan and HEXO. So if we factor in over the last 9 months, right? So if we factor in Zenabis, which was about 20 million a quarter, thereabout, right? With the organic growth that we have between now and the end of the year, you factor in the 10 million or whatever it is from North. So we'll just say on average, we'll say HEXO could be looking at about 200 to 250 million per year. So we're looking at about 70 to 80 million a quarter. So just doing quick math here, we'll do it on the low end. So we'll do 70 million and then times by 4. That's around $280 million a year. And it could be, and that's without factoring in the expansion in the United States with trust. They also said trust numbers should be available on Molson Coors next report, next earnings report. So that's without factoring in the readies going into select states. That's without factoring in the gel caps. That's without factoring the trust expansion into other states like New York and many others to come as well. So I'm extremely excited, and the fact that the company's only valued at about 700 million is just absolutely crazy. Share price, we are still below $4, which is absolutely mind-boggling when you think about it, but we are starting this daily bounce. We do have this daily RSI divergence, so the price is trending lower with lower highs and lower lows. We had this falling wedge pattern as well that is breaking out bullish, but we were down from the highs in February about 65%, Tilray down over 80%. So just questioning how much more downside we're really going to see from here. We had key support at 358 USD, and we got as low as 370, so came within about 12 pennies from that key support. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the last times we see $3 on HEXO for a very long time. But again, not set up well if the overall broader markets decides to pull back 5, 10, 15% or see monthly consolidation, which we know is going to come on the S&P 500 eventually. But we have seen an inverse correlation to MJ and the S&P 500. Generally, we've been seeing inverse correlation. So when the S&P and the broader market were down, MJ would go up. And that likely has to do with just rotation out of the tech companies. But we know Tesla's now a part of the S&P, but we're starting to see signs of life here, trending with lower highs and lower lows on the price action, but the RSI, higher lows and higher highs, some bullish RSI divergence. It could be nearing a bottom here, and like I said, breaking into that falling wedge pattern, which could mean upside potential all the way up to about $5 as we are looking to confirm it here. But we've been rejecting from EMA 12, so I keep stating this. EMA 12 is going to be key, that yellow line sitting at 401. So if we can close a daily candle above that, that will be the first time since we lost it here. So we're now going on 60 days, 2 months, without closing a daily candle above that EMA 12. So like I said, big shift in momentum will likely ensue after we close over EMA 12. And something to be really excited about on the weekly chart, once we get this weekly bounce going, we have a lack of resistance. Looks like we have a gap here as well at 645. And then we have a lack of resistance all the way up to 755. So from the low here at 370 to the resistance here at 755, you're looking at over 103% worth of gains and lack of resistance on the weekly chart. In terms of the moving averages, we do have the 10-week moving average up at 490 as well, and the 50-day moving average at 524. So that $5 psychological level and 10-week moving average going to be very strong resistance in my opinion, but we could see a stochastic bull cross here on the weekly time frame, and the MACD starting to curl, but still a lot of work to do in that regard in terms of that macro indicator. But again, we have a long ways away to go before we get to that 10-week moving average resistance up at 490. We're looking at just under $1 worth of upside. We could see a bearish cross of these weekly moving average, the 100 through the 50. So don't expect that to happen personally, but it can always go a lot lower than we think. So we always have to be ready for all, technical analysis it's not a guarantee. No one has a crystal ball. We're just looking at the most likely scenario. And like I said, we have a lack of resistance up until that 509. So even the 50 weekly moving average there at 509. So I expect the $5 range to be very strong resistance once wind catches that the CPG partner is signed. It's a Fortune 200 company, and Redees are going to be entering into the United States potentially in select states in January through white labeling and MSOs and gel caps, and Trust CBD USA expanding in other states. There's a lot to look forward to. Wait till retail speculators and investors start to see the combined entity's value. Assuming Redecan deal closes, they're expecting that to close sometime the end of August into September. So we should see that soon. And then on the the subsequent quarter over quarter earnings, we're going to see huge growth, right? I think they said HEXO is 106% year over year, and then I think 130 or 160% for Redecan year over year. So just imagine what kind of innovation these two powerhouses are going to. I'm excited. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited. But going to end it there, we did have the death cross as well, and we did see another leg lower after that death cross. So we're going to potentially see, maybe this is all the downside we see, but we could potentially see more from here. It's entirely possible if SPY rolls over, but I just don't see that as the most likely scenario. I would expect at least a weekly lower high on the weekly time frame. And then we also have the weekly VWAP and the 20 weekly moving average up at around that $5 area. So $5 is going to be a strong target to target once we do start this weekly bounce. And like I said, just set a lower high. We also have EMA 12 on the weekly right there around 490. So I expect when we do get the weekly bounce underway, I would not be surprised to see about a 25 to 30% bounce and set at least a weekly lower high. But just going to be expecting a weekly lower high on this chart. First, we need to change the daily trend, get a big of a bounce here on as possible. Now starting the daily bounce, breaking the high of yesterday. If we can get a big of a bounce as possible on the daily, change the daily trend, then zoom out, get a big of a bounce on the weekly as possible, and then attempt the daily trend change. So the higher the bounce here on the weekly, the more room we have to form a higher low and a possible trend change. All right, so going to end it there. Again, let me know in the comments below what your favorite takeaway was from this conference. If you joined in today, let me know what your favorite takeaway was from the conference. If you didn't join, maybe let me know what your favorite takeaway was from this video recap. All right, thanks for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for a HEXO update video, and we'll see you a little bit later on after market close. Take care, everyone.